why is this movie special? I mean, we talked about the scenes, maybe we already did, but if we already talked about it. One is neo-realism. Why is this movie special? Neo-realism. Do you want to say something about it, Ravindra?
Yes. What I mean, what Ray did is he humanized the family. He didn't show them very at the edge of people falling out of poverty and then suffering, and then but with the hope. Humanize the hope.
Okay.
So realism is showing your colors and in your daily life.
Right.
It is not that it is not distinguished with daily life.
Right.
Daily life is part and parcel of the everybody's life.
Right.
But more so in these people, but at the same time they had dignity.
Right.
Even though they were in poverty, he showed them in dignity and hope. The monsoon and all that, there was a hope for them. And see, for everyone,
Right.
there is a hope.
Okay. Yeah.
So one should not never feel that we are going to lose out.
Right.
So
the next
that
one,
is
the
Now,
next
let
one-
me value one important thing in this. Historically, is very important. The cinematography point of view, there are two important things happened in this film. One is they used a technique called diffusion of light. Subrato Mitra, the cinematographer, he discovered it. They used it. They invented it. It's after a few years, a French cinematographer, they climbed, and there's a big article in that Filmi magazine saying that this is the technique we discovered and all. They contested it. There was a research,
yes.
and then it has been assigned to him, Subrato Mitra. The diffusion of light technique has been invented. Now it is in the history.
Okay.
It started with this
the
film.
This
Okay.
film.
So that the even light, that's why it's so beautiful.
I see.
Second thing, we really need to remember this Subrata Mitra, because he never held a camera. He is a still photographer. Well, that's why each and every frame so tight, they look like a still photographer. So the way they structured which speaks, even I think it's a God's grace or whatever. It's a luck, immense luck. Like 3 miracles happened. Satyajit Ray said, this is that's why it's such a tight. It looks everything as if you take each and frame, you can make a black and white photograph and put it in your bedroom.
That brings to the next point. Actually, we alluded to it. Is
And the music.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So before we go into music, one of the things which struck me is, as you also pointed out, is most of the people involved in this movie, the director, the cinematographer, actors, they're all debutants. What about that?
Yeah.
It in this film, only Bansi Chandragupta, who was the art director, he was with Jean Renoir for the film The Revolver. So he was the only one who had a experience. Nobody else.
Right.
So this parallel, there is in all classics. Very, very close is Citizen Kane. Citizen Kane screenplay
It's
writer.
like Muhammad Azharuddin on a debut.
Good, scoring the 3
centuries.
But
Playing cricket.
yeah. So, but what happened is, in Citizen Kane, the screenplay writer and the cameraman were the only two persons who had experience. So, but Citizen Kane, ultimately the screenplay and the cinematography were the main parts of the film.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Satyajit Ray is a new
cinematographer, Subrata
Mitra.
and then before we talk about the music, let's hold on to that. The other actors are also pretty.
I think what I read is, except Hori, the man played as a father, is having some exposure to theater and other, and mother also a little bit. But the most interesting thing about is Indira, the Chunni Bala, who acted as Indira, Chunni Bala. This is an interesting story actually. And if you see that movie, you're going to fall in love with her. And no way anybody can ignore. They say it's one of the best characters will be remembered ever long. But the backstory is, she is from a brothel house. She's a Varnad brothel. house. But that's why there is a scene. She tells stories, right, to kids. She used to take care of kids after her prime of youth. She's in a place in Calcutta like Chatrakachi. It's known for red light area. And when Satyajit Ray was really looking for this character, a lot of people came for auditioning and all, but they're old, but they're not able to remember things. But he was like, how can I do it? Then somebody told, hey, there is one lady, I can tell you, she remembers every story, every detail. You should go and talk to her. And then Satyajit Ray went, and then I think he was bowled by her. And then he mentioned in her interviews, one of the interviews, that she never seen an actor such detail oriented. She used to ask only, I think she used to take opium.
And she probably is 75 years old or something?
No, 80. She acted and she did. So that's why Satyajit Ray, there are 3 miracles in this film. One is the girl, Durga, the physical appearance not changed much.
For like 3 years?
3 years.
Appu also.
And Appu, his voice never changed. Generally, boys get the voice change. I'm very lucky with that. And the third one is she never died. She's 83 years.
She looks like she was dying in the first frame itself.
Right. And she never died. And it's a miracle. It's a anybody loves cinema, they remember. So she's the one that discovered. And Satyajit Ray was giving the homage, paying homage to her, said she's such a detail-oriented. Even senior actors need to learn. She knows what is the previous frame she acted, where the sweat was there, where her sari was there, shawl was there. She used to correct everything because Satyajit Ray asked her, I believe, you need to be conscious and you need to help me only in this way, remembering things, because he thought that she's a very old person, but she was extremely agile, extremely focused in the filmmaking, and she's
good.
Great.
So let's come back to the one which we are still hiding for so long. Music. Another debutant in the movies?
Ravi Shankar.
Pandit Ravi Shankar.
Okay.
I'm bowled over by his music. And for trilogy, Appu's trilogy, it is the thematic music which he gave, which refrains in the end also as they're going back to Benares, the same la 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 la.
So Indian ragas, right?
So that same thematic, which is a lead motif for the film, becomes for the Aparajito and also Appur Sansa. So it is called Appu's theme. That was his brilliant use of his folk as well as his sitar. He used mostly folk music, and it is brilliant. Even though Ray later on was not happy with not only with Ravi Shankar, but another great Vilayat Khan. He was also a great sitar, probably the greatest sitar player. He was not happy with them.
But as happy as Ravi Shankar.
Not even with Ravi Shankar also he was happy, but they finished it in one night. One stroke, they finished the whole music. But music added lot of, and not only music, what Satyajit Ray has used it in this, their sounds off screen. When they are in the frame, he uses sounds which are not in the frame, like a whistle or something falling down or somebody's voice. So if you notice it, most of the shots they may not be there, but using sounds which are.
So it's like looks like we are already crossing more than the time we are. Which is again, it's it's such a great one. So you know what, we'll summarize about the direction and the cinema technique. So not summarize. I mean, we can talk all day long, but can you just
let me take first? No, it's not that. There is a great book, right? Andrew Robinson, and there is another. A lot of people, they did a lot of research and analysis on this book. But what they said is, this is a slice of life, okay? And then it's projected in a purity. And what drama and cinema means is, usually, cinema means taking away the boring parts and not interesting parts from the life and presenting it.
Infusing.
That is a cinema. But what these great masters did, particularly Satyajit Ray, they took away interesting parts. They keep the boring parts and the routine things and regular things and gave you a hope. They shown a life, life with the different layers. Hey, life means not simple thing. Life is everything encompasses. See, from the street sweet seller to the grand old people of the village, bringing the your legacy, how you can live, and then even looking the next generation for a change, leaving everything back. That's what he able to achieve it, and it's such an intimate, and this film speaks very intimately, and so my recommendation is really, that's what the film, even the great Roger Ebert, the editor, said about giving 4 stars for this. Roger Ebert is a very accomplished and well regarded. He is very
film critic.
He won't be satisfied very quickly. He said one thing, like, this is a prayer. This film is like a prayer in cinema field. People will realize it when they are actually watching in these sound related films, and what a film should be, what a film can be in future, what it should be in future, because it's the purest cinematic form. It's a prayer from all the great audience.
Okay. So basically, those are all accolades and good things about it, right? Before Ravinder, you explain why, I mean, the things.
Yes,
one question I had was, maybe one question which was they're not only accolades, there's some criticisms. Also, one of the criticism is this movie is more of a glorification of poverty, or poetry of poverty is what somebody has commented at. How do you rebut that?
Probably now, 60 years down the lane, even now the poverty in India, in US itself, is higher than 60 years back. So the poverty cannot be just brushed away. So if even in US, if you think that there is no poverty, we are living in a fool's world.
Right.
There are already 25 to 30 million people who are in poverty in US itself.
Latest Nobel Prizes for defining poverty.
So what I'm saying is, forget about poverty itself. All that is in poverty. Or the way what he is done is he's elevated them.
Correct.
Out of poverty, there is a hope, there is a renewal for life, and then there is joy. You, as a family, you can share both pain as well as joys, and it is how you give and take. And there's 3 generations, how they are equalized, and especially the Durga and her grandmother. It's a beautiful relationship. Those, in spite of poverty, they can take place. That is the humanism. That is what. That is the central point. It doesn't make you less person or more deserving person.
In other words, it's life is made up of poverty. Life is made up of prosperity. Life is made up of love. Life is made up of troubles. I mean, travels. I mean, all the hope. So all of this together is what
is life is all about.
Hope. This film is a hopeful film.
Very hopeful.
I don't see the music wise, the cinematography wise. It's a lyrical poetry.
So we obviously strongly recommend you all to watch this great classic. Me, a neophyte in the movies, unlike these 2 guys here, I watched it for the first time. I got bowled away. And I would recommend.
Let's show the book.
One book which I bought recently in the this is from 24 Frames. There's a group called 24 Frames. They publish books on all the world best cinema, and this is the Cinema of India. This is Apu Satyajit Ray, and this is by the preface by Javed Akhtar. You can buy every country books
for this.
24
Let's start
frames.
with the Indian book first.
Okay. You guys can go and Google this book, Cinema of India by 24 Frames. You can get this.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you very much for